In today's video, I'm sharing 3 brand new recipes just in time for the holidays. This first one is actually perfect for a weeknight, but especially coming around here to Thanksgiving. Next up, we have a dessert recipe that one of you guys shared with me, and I'm so excited to share it with y'all. And stay tuned until the end. We have a perfect slow cooker recipe just in time for the holidays. Let's get cooking, y'all. Alrighty, y'all. So to start my chicken and cornbread dressing casserole, I always just start with the Martha White buttermilk cornmeal mix. I just make it according to the package directions, although it does call for 1 egg. I accidentally already put 2 in there, but it'll be fine. Let's see, 1 1/3 cups of milk. So of course we are going to use some just whole cultured buttermilk for this. We're going to need 1 1/3 cup. I'm just going to use my same little cup measure and kind of eyeball it. I'll put a little bit more because I did put a little bit more cornmeal in there. And then next, the recipe on the back of that calls for 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, but I like to do butter, so I'm just going to melt half a stick of butter and get it in there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stir everything before I add that butter in, just so we don't cook the eggs at all. All right, now we're just going to pour in that 1/4 cup of melted butter. All right, now I just have my 8x8 baking dish over here. I already went ahead and sprayed it with some cooking spray. We're just going to get that poured in there, and we're just going to bake the cornbread according to our package directions. It's about 450 for about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, y'all, so for our chicken today, I just picked up a rotisserie chicken from Walmart with my grocery order earlier today. Of course, you can boil your own chicken. That way you'll have your own chicken broth as well. Or you can even use canned chicken for this, leftover chicken, whatever you have. But since we're doing rotisserie, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of shred this up. You just want about 2 cups of cooked chicken. Y'all, in North Carolina tonight, we are making some Thanksgiving food. We're making this, and I'm also making some cranberry sauce over there. I've shared that recipe plenty of times here on my channel. I'll link it below if you haven't seen it. But, so we're making cranberry sauce, we're doing the chicken and dressing. So right now we have the cornbread in the oven, and it's actually snowing outside, which is kind of crazy. We just finished putting up my daughter's Christmas tree. It looks so cute. I'll see if I can insert a picture for y'all. But yeah, it's snowing, so it's like the perfect little pre-Thanksgiving, I don't know, night. Let me know if y'all started your Christmas decorating yet. If not, when do you start? All right, so we're just gonna add about 5 or 6 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna get that melting, and then we're gonna saute up our onion and celery that we got diced up over here. Just have some diced celery, some chiced celery, as I told Darren, kind of between a dice and a chop. And then 1 diced onion. Again, I'm just going to let that butter melt. And I'm going to let these veggies saute for probably 20 minutes. I like them to get super kind of caramelized and browned and soft. That's how I like them in my cornbread dressing. We're going to take our cornbread. And generally, you kind of want to make your cornbread ahead of time, like maybe the day before, even that morning before. But I didn't have time to do all that today, so it'll be fine if you don't. We're just going to dump in our cornbread. Put our cornbread in there. I like to just go ahead and kind of break mine up a little bit because we are going to be stirring this up with everything else. Next, we're just going to take 1 sleeve of the buttery round crackers. Alright, I'm just going to combine our crackers and our cornbread up together. Next, I'm going to go ahead and bring over our sauteed onion and celery. I'll have a good angle here. Get that in the bowl. Alright, next I'm just going to bring back over that rotisserie chicken. Again, this is just about 2 cups of cooked chicken. Alright, next I just have 5 eggs. I'm going to go ahead and beat these and add those in. All right, and then next, of course, we're gonna need some broth. If you don't have homemade broth from cooking your own chicken or anything like that, I love to use the Better Than Bouillon chicken base. This is not sponsored or anything like that. I've been using this for years, but it really is good. It just has more of a rich, deeper flavor than just, say, a carton of, chicken broth. So all you do is mix about a tablespoon with water. That equals 1 cup. So I have about 4 cups of water over here. We're going to start with that. So essentially 4 cups of broth. Whisk it around in that water. I'm going to go ahead and stir everything together that we have so far. Our cornbread and crackers and chicken and our eggs in there. And I see a lot of people do this where they'll mix everything and put the eggs last, kind of taste it, which that's a great idea. But I've made this so many times, I feel like I can get it pretty much right. So as far as seasonings go, we're not going to add any salt. Of course, we're going to be adding a good bit of broth. So I am going to add some black pepper in there. And then you can use sage, but I happen to really just like poultry seasoning. It has your sage already in there, plus a whole bunch of other really good flavors. I think it makes this dressing recipe, so that's what I use. And again, I'll have the measurements and everything like normal below, but I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to put some in. And then next, we're just going to start adding in our broth. I like to just do mine with the little cup measure. That way I'm not making a mess. I know we're going to need most of this. I'm just going to ladle it in there. Go ahead and give it a stir. Can already tell we're going to need a little bit more. We're going to need just a little bit more. I might not quite use all 4 cups. And I always say when I make my dressing, you want it to be like a moist oatmeal, like a fluffy oatmeal consistency. Okay. Stir all that together. I don't know if y'all can see on camera, but that's kind of the consistency that we're going for. All right, I have my 9 by 13. Just gonna go ahead and give it a spray on the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and get our chicken and dressing in here. Spread her out in our dish, and I have my oven already preheated. Alrighty, y'all, have everything in our dish. This is going into an oven at 350 for about 45 minutes to an hour. Alrighty, y'all, this next recipe actually comes from one of y'all, and it is called pumpkin crunch. It's gonna be so good. One of y'all commented on my last video, Miss Joy. I think that is your name. That at least is your screen name on here. So thank you so much. You can see she added the recipe, and then as soon as she did, I said, I'm gonna try that. So I figured we would try it today. So I just have my mixing bowl out here. First thing, we're just gonna add 1 can of pumpkin. And then next to our pumpkin, we're just gonna add 1.5 cups of sugar. What else do we add? Let's see. Next, we're gonna need 1 can of evaporated milk. So we basically have pumpkin pie filling, but the topping, y'all, is so different and it's gonna be so good. All right, we're gonna add in our 1 cup of evaporated milk. Next, we're gonna add in 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Gosh, y'all, I am dropping everything today. I might have just dropped my sugar a second ago, spilled it all over the floor, and almost dropped my little salt pot just now. Anyway, we're gonna add just a pinch of salt in there. Of course, I'll have the full recipe and directions in the description box, like always. And then next, I think we're gonna add, yes, 4 eggs. All right, 4 eggs going in. Now we're just gonna blend everything together. All right, now we're just gonna pour our pumpkin mixture into our 9 by 13. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sprinkle on 1 packet of yellow cake mix. Just pop it in here really quick for a little side note. Joy did have in her recipe that she posted, it's only about half a box of yellow cake mix. I used the whole thing, but just to let y'all know, it did come out fine. So, I don't know. Use half a box, use a box, however much you want. I'm sure it'll be good. Try to get it on there as evenly as possible. And you are not going to stir it down in there. Just sprinkle it all over top of our pumpkin mixture. The whole thing nice and even. The next thing we're going to do is sprinkle on about 1 cup of chopped pecans. Sprinkle those all over the top. And Miss Joy, if you are watching today, I was telling my mom how I was going to make this and how you had shared the recipe. And she told me that my stepdad's mom actually had made something like this before in the past. And so she was scrounging around looking for that recipe. She said that sounded so similar to what her name was Carol, what Carol made. And so she ended up finding her recipe, but it was something a little bit different. So maybe we'll try that one next time. But this one just sounded so good, and my mom's even like, yes, we need to make that. All right, that's probably a little bit more than a cup, but that's okay. Now we're just gonna add some butter on top. All right, so this recipe calls for 2 sticks of butter. Yes, y'all, this is a holiday recipe. So normally, well, a lot of times when I do recipes like this where you add the butter on top, I like to mix my cake mix with my butter. I'll go ahead and melt the butter and then stir it together. I just feel like it kind of more evenly coats the top of the cake or the cobbler, whatever we're baking. However, with this recipe, since that filling is so liquidy, like a, pumpkin pie, I didn't really want to mix that up. I was afraid if I did, it would be too heavy and would sink down in there. So today, I'm just gonna add the pats of butter on top. All right, we got our 2 sticks of butter. Or you could probably just melt your butter and then just drizzle it over. But we're gonna do it the way that Miss Joy told us to today. Just gonna add pats of butter all across the top. And hopefully by adding 2 sticks, I'm cutting the pats pretty thin as well. We'll have no problem covering this whole cake, cobbler, whatever you wanna call it, this dessert. I already know this is gonna taste just like the holidays, y'all. And I have some ideas that I'm gonna be sharing really soon, some brand new recipes, some new things I've never shared on my YouTube channel before. And this kind of reminds me of it with the pecans and stuff. So make sure if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you're subscribed because I do have some new content planned for the holidays. All right, we about got it all the way covered. Alrighty, y'all, the oven is preheated to 350. This is going in there for about an hour. Okay, I wish y'all could smell my kitchen right now. If y'all know the pumpkin pecan waffles from like Bath & Body Works or even the one from Walmart, this is what that candle smells like. It smells like pumpkin, it smells sweet, it smells like pecans. I'm so excited to give this a try. When Dare gets home, he's gonna walk in, he's gonna say, what in the world are you cooking? It smells so good. All right, so we're just gonna let it sit for maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so, and then we will dig into this thing. Alrighty, y'all, I literally took one bite and texted my mom and told her I was making it today. I said, this is so good. I told her this is what we're gonna have for our Thanksgiving dessert this year. Instead of having pumpkin pie and pecan pie, this honestly kind of marries the two together and it's better in my opinion. This is so, so good. Thank you again to Joy for sharing this recipe with me. I love it when you guys share your family favorites. Please, if you have any more Thanksgiving holiday favorites, drop them down in the description box below. You never know, I might try one on the next video. But this one is like a 12 out of 10. This is absolutely delicious, y'all. Alrighty, y'all, so I have went ahead and peeled and chopped about 5 pounds of russet potatoes. For mashed potatoes, my favorites to use are either gold potatoes or russet potatoes. For this one, I think these are gonna be perfect. So like I said, I already have them peeled, chopped in my slow cooker. And now I'm just going to pour on, I have about 4 cups of chicken broth here. I'm gonna cover them with that chicken broth. Clean my mess up a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop the lid on. And you can cook this on low for about 6 to 8 hours until, of course, your potatoes are fork tender. We're doing ours on high, probably about 3 to 4 hours. Again, I'll have the whole recipe in the description and I'll let you know how long they ended up going. But I'm just gonna turn my crock pot on 4 or 5 hours till our potatoes are tender. All right, y'all, our potatoes have been cooking. I think I ended up cooking them on high for about 5 hours. And as we can see, they are fork tender in here. So now I'm just gonna bring them over here and go ahead and strain those really quick. Now we're just gonna bring them back over to our slow cooker. All right, so the one thing I like to do whenever I make mashed potatoes, I like to go ahead and melt my butter. So I have 2 sticks of butter. All right, so before we go ahead and mash these, my family really likes garlic mashed potatoes, so I'm gonna add a good bit of garlic powder. I am gonna add some black pepper and a little pinch of salt. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and mash our potatoes, mash that seasoning all in there. You can use a hand mixer for this if you want to. I don't know, I've just kind of always preferred hand mashed potatoes. I feel like sometimes when you use a hand mixer, they can get over mixed. So we're just gonna go ahead and mash these all up. As you can see, they are nice and fluffy. The butter that we melted, I poured about half of that out because I wanna have a little bit for the topping. So whenever I do my mashed potatoes, somebody told me this. It's been a while now. It might have been one of you guys, I don't know. I like to go ahead and mix my heavy cream with my butter. Instead of putting just cold milk or cold heavy cream into my mashed potatoes, I've heard this works better, so this is what I do. And then we're just gonna pour on our butter and our heavy cream. A lot of people also add in a half a block of softened cream cheese right here, so you can definitely do that. And as you can see, they're gonna get super, super creamy. You can, of course, add in more. I think we're gonna need a little bit more heavy cream. I'm not heating it up this time, just gonna add in a little bit more. And those are looking pretty good already. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a taste. See if we need to adjust our seasonings in any way. They're so good, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit more salt. Stir that in. And to make it pretty, since we're doing this for Thanksgiving, for the holidays, we're gonna add that last little bit of melted butter right on top, along with some green onion or some chives. And there we go, y'all. Crock pot mashed potatoes. Saves your oven. These things are so good if you're working all day, because if you're like me, you have energy in the morning. By nighttime, you're not wanting to fix homemade mashed potatoes, peeling everything. Throw these in your slow cooker and you will be good to go. These mashed potatoes were light, airy, full of flavor, buttery, everything you'd want in a mashed potato. We actually served those with some Crockpot beef stew chips. That'll be in my next video, so make sure you're subscribed. Also, if you made it this far in the video, leave a little pot emoji down there in the comments so I'll know you stopped by today, and I'll see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye, y'all.